Life can be a lot like whitewater rafting. Sometimes you make it through a tough rapid better than other times. In my experience, you can either accumulate the knowledge of how best to work with the nature God has created, or end up working against it, as these rafters here are doing. I have done it both ways, and I would like to help you navigate through the rocks and boat-eating holes that you will encounter through life and how it relates to PE100. I'm Rich Hills and one of the professors of PE100. I hope to help connect the dots between the spiritual world to our physical world that the college, kinesiology department, and this class believes in. But before I launch into it, a little bit more about myself. I've been teaching at Point Loma for 36 years. I started when I was 12. And if I like it, I think I'll stay. On my maiden rafting voyage, I met my wife, and we teamed up together to have 3 great kids. All of us are Point Loma alums. I get to teach several really fun classes, and one of my favorites is outdoor adventures. Because we take a whitewater rafting trip each year to the mighty Kern River to challenge the Class 3 and 4 rapids.
In rafting, I view nature and God the same. God made the river to go a certain way, and I have just found it best to try not to go down the river differently than God designed it to go. Sometimes a late paddle command, lazy paddle team, or poor guide perception can cause us to hit the very rocks we are needing to avoid in order to be in the right position for the next set of rocks, so we can be lined up to punch through the big boat-eating hole at the bottom of the rapid.
What can sometimes happen is we bump the first set of rocks that spins us into the next set of rocks that puts us sideways into the hole at the bottom, and the boat flips, giving our paddle crew an instant baptism into the swimmer's club.
The spiritual applications with this are many. First, we can't expect God to change the course our lives are on based upon the choices we've made any more than expecting He'll change the river while we're rafting. When we work with God, we avoid the rocks. Without Him, we are scrambling.
Your life expectancy is like you. With me, it's you. Without me, here. With me, without me. With me, without me.
Second, our choices are by far the determining factors as to how this trip is going to go, both on the river and in life. We want to focus on great, healthy choices. Third, no matter our choices, if we find ourselves in a pinball rapid, getting thrown from one rock to the next, we can still right the ship. Fourth, for any of you wondering, can the spiritual life really have that much connection with our physical bodies?
Just try looking over the edge of a massive rapid with a boat crew of beginners. Or take that first step off a 300-foot rappel. You get the spiritual connection real quick.
Our university is very purposeful in trying to be different than other schools. Most other universities emphasize the academic, the physical, and the social development of its students. But few add the spiritual component. We not only add it, but this spiritual component informs and changes how we do the other 3. Point Loma is one of the few schools that has remained true to its original purpose and calling. We want to teach, shape, and send Christ followers into the world to be examples working with God's creation and not being part of the problem. The kinesiology department along with a few other departments on campus, are tasked to bring knowledge and lifestyle together. To give you what works best with the way God made us.
A little biblical history will bring us up to the focal point of this class. From the beginning, the Bible tells us God wanted a close relationship with us. But ever since we chose not to have a relationship with God, He has pursued us back to His original purpose.
Through Moses, we see God gave us the 10 best practices for right relationship with Him. These commandments were kept in the Ark of the Covenant, carried around by priests, and became the focal point as to where God was and could be accessed. The Ark was soon kept in tents and eventually in the temple. This place was known as the house of God. And up until the time of Jesus, the temple was the place people met God, offered sacrifices for their sins, and the sins of their nation. Then God sent Jesus to be the ultimate and final sacrifice, so we would no longer need any other blood sacrifices to cover our sin. Then God raised Jesus from the dead to live in the new temple inside you and me. Our bodies, according to Paul in 1 Corinthians 6:16, says, we are the temples of God. This then is where we go to find God. He lives in His new home inside us. PE100 then is here to give you knowledge as to God's best, or taking our physical body and minds to their highest. The question is, how then should we treat these temples of God? Wouldn't you want to know God's best design for you? Shouldn't we want to discover the best ways to take care of ourselves and others? What's the best to feed both body and mind? How much exercise is best? How much sleep do we need each night? How can we best deal with the stresses of life, the love, the anger, the fear, and the disappointments? These are some of the reasons that PE100 was created, and the question we will focus on.
Working against God's best for you can put you into the rocks of disease, depression, weight problems, low energy, and possibly even early death. We hope to prepare you for your run through life's rapids, working with God and the way He made you, rather than against His very best for you and your future. And if you find yourself hitting the very rocks in life you were trying to avoid and are sideways to your intended purpose, you can know how to realign with the right direction of healthy choices, both mentally, physically, socially, and spiritually. My hope is that you'll catch the great excitement and anticipation to be on your great adventure, and how PE100 can make a difference in how you treat the great temple God has built for Himself in you. Happy adventuring!